proposed. Can I, by show of hand, get an indication that you do support the adoption of the agenda as proposed? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Ms. Masetti. I also support the adoption of the agenda as presented to us. Before we proceed with our meeting, I would like to also introduce the members of the REC. I have Ms. Masetti, who is a member of the REC, chairperson of the Pipe Gas Subcommittee, and the chair of the Electricity Subcommittee. And she's also a member of other committees and subcommittees of the Energy Regulator. Ms. Masetti, would you like to greet?
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to you. Good morning to Mr. Mkhize and the colleagues. I would like to also greet the members of the public that are connected to various platforms to observe our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We also have Mr. Mkhize, who is a member of this committee, chairperson of the Petroleum Pipeline Subcommittee, and a member of other subcommittees and committees of the Energy Regulator. Mr. Mkhize, would you want to greet?
Good morning, Chairperson, Madam Masetti, management and staff of NERSA, as well as members of the public that are joining us through the various live streaming platforms. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize, and I'll also introduce myself. My name is Nomalanga Stole. I'm the chairperson of the REC and CEO at NERSA. I sit on a number of NERSA subcommittees and committees of the Energy Regulator, and I wish to welcome you all once more. We would then move on to the set agenda. Ms. Jansen van Vieren, can you just assist us to ensure that the meeting is also recorded? Thank you. On that note, I would like to bring it to the attention of everyone that our meeting for this morning, it is going to be recorded. We will then start with the first application, or rather item 5, which is municipal tariff applications for the financial year 2025. And we'll start with the first application, which is an application from Blowback Municipality. We are going to be led by Ms. Nkopo. Ms. Nkopo, over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, Chairperson. The person who will present this one is Samson. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning to you, board members, management, and NERSA staff. Blowback is a local municipality that is located in Limpopo. They submitted an application which was consulted on, and it was further published on NERSA website to solicit comment, and we received no comment. Moving on to the indicators, their customer base is 92% domestic, which in that you can clearly see there is a cross-subsidy issues, the challenges of cross-subsidy. When we look at their performance, they operated at a deficit and energy losses. They attributed those energy losses to illegal connection and also the network design. They indicated that their network have over 10 points of deliveries, which are scattered, meaning there is their technical losses are much higher. And we also did a test to see what will be the profitability if energy losses were at 12%. And the conclusion was they were still going to operate at a deficit, meaning it's not only the tariff that are affecting their profitability. And when we move on to their cost of supply, the study they submitted, it really followed the NERSA framework, and the team assessed and satisfied that the study only allow energy losses of 12%, and costs that are deemed inefficient and in management control were not included in the revenue applied for. If I may take members to the result of the study showed that the municipality, for them to be cost reflective, they should increase their tariff by 195%, which means this municipality is clearly a grant-dependent municipality. It depends on grant to survive. But what the municipality decided, they decided to go for a phasing approach, where for the current cycle, they have proposed a a 15% increase across the board. And it is recommended, since when we looked at the current under recovery and the recovery at 15%, it shows that the under recovery will be reduced by a number close to inflation. And in recommendation, we recommend that the energy regulator note the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality. Secondly, the tariffs that are based on the cost of supply report be approved as recommended in the analysis sheet of the implementation, to be implemented by the municipality 1st July 2025. Thirdly, the municipality to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted in the study to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification. And lastly, the municipality to submit audited financial report that reflect the impact of the cost-based tariff on the customer, as well as the licensing sustainability. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Mudise. Members, there is the application before you. Are there any questions, issues of clarity, points of enhancement that you may have on the application? If so, please do raise your hand. I'll recognize you. Thank you. You may come in, Mr. Mkize.
Thanks, Chairperson. Noting that this is a continuation of the previous meeting, the last meeting that we had, the same concerns for me are reflected here. As you would note, that 195.5% increase, hence the post determination activities that need to unfold to really look further with regard to this in terms of sufficiencies, the prudency, the structural issues, so that one can be able to get to a figure that is has been tested in terms of what I've just mentioned, and then also to assist in terms of ensuring that 15% is also fully understood and justified on its own. To say you settle for a 15 instead of a 16 or a 14. I think these are the issues that we need to look into. I'm reflecting on this one because going forward, even for the rest, my silence on these issues does not mean that one is not concerned, but that I take it that the team is going to consider it as applicable in all these applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkize, and Team EPT. Let's just take note of that input, and also when we are presenting our applications as allocated, please just ensure that you do cover those issues when you share your presentation with us. Members, on that note, the recommendations have been read into the record, and the recommendations are on paragraph 9 on page 23. They have been read into the record. May I, by show of hand, get an indication that you do support the recommendations as presented, and also note the enhancements that has been shared with the team. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. I also support the approval of the recommendations as presented under paragraph 9 of page 20. On to the second application. I won't read the names that are indicated on page 11 because I said Ms. Nkopo with the first one, and that's how it's indicated. It ended up as being that the Mudise. We'll go on to the St. Lexop Limited application, which is a company distributing on behalf of Mangaung Municipality. And Tate Zwanga Rolefe, you may lead the committee with this particular application. Over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson, and everyone in the meeting. You have already done an introduction of Centlec for me. Chairperson, Centlec is supplying electricity to 147,683 customers in Mangaung. Centlec is still operating at deficits. It actually recorded a deficit of negative 26%, and the energy losses of 9.41%, which are within the NERSA tolerable range. Chairperson, Centlec have tabled the application, which was supported by a cost of supply using the model that was actually developed by SEA. Chairperson, the results, or rather, the consultation process have occurred. So the publication of the application was done, and no comments were received up until on Saturday. We received one stakeholder comment from a reseller. Sorry. So we shall engage it because the submission was already submitted. Then, Chairperson, the results of the COS has reflected a 14% increase, and Centlec tabled an application of 13.5%. However, Centlec is facing a challenge with the ESCOM interest and other interest, or other ESCOM debt and other interests. So when the adjustments were done for such imprudent or other inefficient costs, it got to 12.4%, which we recommend for approval. Chairperson, I would like to take you through to my recommendations, and my apologies. Mistakenly, they were not included in the submission, but as per your instruction, I will augment them. And the recommendations goes this way, that it is recommended that the energy regulator notes the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality. The tariffs, it is also recommended that the tariffs are based on the COS report be approved as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1 July 2025. And it is recommended that the municipality must submit a report accounting for all costs that have been noted in its COS study to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification and audit process. Lastly, it is recommended that the municipality must submit an audited financial report that reflects the impact of its cost of supply-based tariffs on customers, as well as on the licensee sustainability and local economy. The date on which the report is to be submitted should be included in the correspondence to municipality or licensee. Chairperson, I submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rolofse. Members, there's the submission before you. Any questions, issues of clarity, or points of enhancements on the application? I do not see any hand. I believe that members support the recommendation as read into the record. It was 8.1 up until 8.8.5. I see hands. Thank you, Ms. Massetti. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I also support the approval.
Sorry, ma'am. I do support,
support,
but I raised a hand earlier on.
Apologies.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
You may proceed, Mr. Mkhize. I thought it were hands for voting. I apologize. You may come in.
Yeah, no, it's just a small issue. Just wanted to check because on the figure there's a that 12.4 that is being put forward by the team. Just want to check at a technical level, have they engaged with the municipality in terms of the final landing on NERSA's side instead of what Sandlake had thought of as 14%. Just want to check if that 14.5 vis-a-vis the 12.4. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Ms. Masetti?
Chairperson is on the same thing. I know that the submission comes from my division, but I wanted the team to just give the members some comfort on the issue of the adjustment. And I think the other thing is being consistent, because if you have noticed, even from last week, where we land, or in terms of the cost of supply, the cost of supply for the municipalities that are inefficient and their financial state is bad, you will realize that their cost of supply are so high. They will the outcome, they will get to 56%, 46 to 100%, and so forth. Just like the one that we have just approved blowback. The cost of supply outcome is very high. But when you come to municipalities such as Mangaung, or this one for St. Lake, in as much as there may be areas that still needs to be looked into, they are at the cost of supply that is much lower. And it was the same even last week. Now what we do, we now, when it lands at 14%, we are so quick to make an adjustment, a downward adjustment. And then the cost, the tariff then does not reflect the cost of supply. Yet we had instances of those municipalities that are performing so badly financially and also in their operations. And we are willing to now say, well, we are going to gravitate towards reaching 50% or 46% of that. But you've got these ones that perform much better. And what we do, we adjust downwards. So I think we need, some consistency here, and be careful here when we're talking about the tariff, and then come to the revenue that is required by this municipality. And on the basis of the revenue that is required, we then reduce the tariff. So we need to be a bit careful there. So maybe the team can clarify what exactly is happening there to give the members comfort. And I'm just adding on the question posed by Mr. Mkhize. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Masetti. That role officer, I think the question is quite clear, and the justification or engagement as well with the licensee on the that adjustment of 12.4 with the 14.5. Over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, I did consult, or rather, we did consult the person responsible from Mangaung, indicating that we are seeing such inefficiencies, and yes, they acknowledge that they are there, and in following a directive of customers not having to pay for the inefficiencies that are within the management's control, the exclusion of such inefficiencies was done, Chairperson, and we accept what the members are saying, and moreover, this was also in the interest of customers not to repay or rather duplicate the payment of the inefficiencies which were within the management's control. Thank you, Chairperson.
Members, any further clarity on the response provided? And maybe, Mr. Rolufse, from my side, the actual response from the municipality in your engagement with them, I may have missed that.
Oh, yes, Chairperson, the response was they do acknowledge those inefficiencies that are there. And even with the others, Chairperson, you find that the allowable revenue, it's highly composed of the inefficiencies, where when you even do the eliminations, you find the rate even going severely down. So it is in this case, Chairperson, that after the inefficiencies were eliminated, we find ourselves lending at this rate. I thank you, because the 14% was including the ESCOM debt and other interests. Now having to eliminate them in protection of customers, and then we landed at 12.4%. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, members, there is the response. Any further follow-up? Mr. Mkhize, I take it as a follow-up. Over to you, Ms. Good.
Yes, thanks. Ma'am. I think the important thing here is that I think management should also then weigh in, Mr. Shotlo and Mr. Matebula, in terms of ensuring consistency also. Because we don't want this to apply this to this municipality and the other one. They've got the same issues, but not necessarily incorporated as such. Just to make sure that there's consistency. That is all for my side. Then I'll be ready to support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The recommendations were read into the records, which were to note the cost of supply studies and to approve the tariff as provided in the tariff analysis table, and the submission of the required reports, and also the audited statements, and also to Dr. Rolofse, you may have to assist me. I'm trying to read them into the record because you did not articulate them clearly. Correct, just for purposes of correctness. Would you want to repeat them into the record so that I can allow members to vote? They are not on the recommendations. Please help me.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will read them again. It is recommended that the energy regulator notes the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality. Secondly, it is recommended that tariffs are based on the COS be approved as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation by the municipality with effect from the 1st of July 2025. And then it is recommended that the municipality must submit a report accounting for all costs that have been noted in its cost of supply study to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification or audit process. And finally, it is recommended that the municipality must submit an audited financial report that reflects the impact of its cost of based tariff on customers, as well as on licensee sustainability and local economy. And the date on which the report is to be submitted be included in the correspondence to the municipality or the licensee. Those are the recommendations, Chairperson. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, the recommendations have been read out. By show of hand, can I get an indication that you support them, and also for the team to note the need for consistency as highlighted by Mr. Mkhize in all the applications. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize, Ms. Maseti, and I do support as well. We will then move on to the next application, and the application is for the city of Tshwane. Over to you, Ms. Nkopo. I hope this one is yours.
Good morning, Chairperson and members and colleagues. Yes, it's mine, Chairperson. With regards to City of Tshwane, the analysis outlines the tariff application informed by the City of Tshwane, detailing the customer stats, financial indicators, and energy losses and the revenue requirement. And then when we're looking at the financial and technical indicators, the financial health has improved with the surplus increase and reduced energy losses. And then the municipality's energy losses remain above the norm, prompting ongoing measures that need to be to enhance the revenue. So the municipality has put measures in place to reduce those losses. And then when looking at the cost of supply, the municipality has aligned to the NERSA framework, and this is evident from the revenues of the steps that are aligned. And then based on the outcome of the COS, the key finding is that the municipality applied for an average increase of 10.2, whereas the outcome of the municipality to achieve full cost reflectivity amounts to 10.4. So it has been evident that the COS is based on a forecast whereby it results in a higher average increase for the municipality to achieve cost reflectivity. It is for this reason that the municipality will be requested to submit a report accounting to all the costs that have been noted in the COS study so that it can enable the regulator to perform its independent verification audit process. The licensee will remain sustainable with the proposed increase of 10.2%. With regards to consultation, consultation has been done by NERSA and by the municipality. Based on that, there were 2 stakeholder comments that were received with regards to the application of the city. The stakeholder comments talk to the fact that the issue of the objecting, firstly, the increases of the municipality, and then they are concerned with the consultation process that took place. And then they feel that if there was no proper consultation, they should the increase should be limited to CPI. But after having engaged with the municipality and considering the NERSA processes, NERSA held the application published on the NERSA website and other platforms, and it was solicited for stakeholder comments for 30 days. And then the city on its side, they also did a public participation from 9 April to the 3rd of May 2025. It is for this reason that we consider that the municipality has undergone the normal process that it was supposed to do, and do recommend that the 10.2% be approved. And further recommendation, Chairperson, indicate that the regulator should note the COS report submitted by the municipality, and then the energy regulator approve the tariffs that are based on the cost of supply as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1st July 2025. And then the municipality to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted to further enable the regulator to perform its independent verification and audit. And then the municipality should submit an audited financial report that reflects the impact of the COS-based tariffs on customers as well as licenses, sustainability, and local economy. The municipality, considering that it has high energy losses, should also submit a smart report by 30 September 2025 to enable NERSA to closely monitor the energy losses. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Nkopo. Members, the submission has been presented to you. Any questions, issues of clarity, or points of enhancements that you may have on this application? By show of hand. I do not see any hand from the members. On that note, members, the recommendations have been read into the record. They are on page 77. Paragraph 10. By show of hand, can I get an indication that you support the approval? Mr. Mkiza, is your hand for approval or question?
Yeah, sorry to hold you back there. I just wanted to get clarity with regard to the issues around consultation. We still think that we are sufficiently covered from our side in moving ahead to get to a decision. That is all from my side.
Okay, do you want clarity on that, Ms. Nkopo?
Yes.
You can come and explain what you said in terms of the question on public consultation.
Thank you, Chair. I think from our side, we've done, yes, I agree that we have done a proper consultation because the application was out for publication, for consultation for 30 days for soliciting of stakeholder comments. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mkiza, I believe you are answered, or do you have any follow-ups?
No, I'm answered. I think what of importance would then for the municipality to ensure that it does its part, even before launching, just so that the process doesn't have any hiccups. It is beyond any level of scrutiny or challenge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mkize. On that note, based on the recommendation right into the record, can I get an indication that you support the approval of the recommendations, paragraph 10 on page 77? Thank you, Ms. Mseti. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. I also support. We then move on to the next application, which is an application from Beyers Nodia Municipality. It says, Ms. Liburu, if I'm wrong, let me be corrected and have the correct presenter proceed and present to the committee.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, it's me. Good morning, members and colleagues. Dr. Beyers Nodia Municipality is located in the Eastern Cape Province. It is applying for an average increase of 11.3%. The application went for publication and on the NERSA website, and there were no comments received from the stakeholders. The municipality's financial and technical performance is looking stable, as reflected by the surplus level at 30.9%, 19%, and energy losses that are kept within the acceptable levels of 7%. This substantial growth in the revenue is mainly due to the municipal debt relief funding received, as well as the sales that grew. The total revenue increased by 110%, while total operational expenditure grew by 17%. In terms of the cost of supply, the NERSA teams conducted a screening to ensure that the study complied with the requirements of the approved framework, and all the costs for 23-24 financial year were verified against the necessary documents. Furthermore, the costs that were deemed to be inefficient were disallowed. Similarly, all the steps of the cost of supply, which is your revenue requirement, cost functionalization, classification, and rate design, were scrutinized for any mismatches and were found to be aligned. Based on the outcome of the cost of supply, while the cost of supply study outcome reflected an average increase of 11.7% for the municipality to achieve full cost reflectivity in 25-26, the municipality adopted to implement tariff increase below the cost outcome. It must be noted that the cost of supply is an important but not deterministic input to tariff design. It enables the municipality to assess the revenue sufficiency of proposed tariffs and the financial sustainability of the utility, and also to ensure that the tariffs reflect the cost associated with the rendering of the service and the customers are treated equitably and pay in general proportion to use of service. Finally, in terms of the tariffs, the result shows that for the licensee to achieve full cost reflectivity, it requires an average of 11.7. However, the municipality decided to on a lower differential percentage increases, as you will see that not all the customers will be increasing by this average 11.3%. The recommendations are on page 96 of 504, and there is one recommendation that is not included, but I will read for the record purposes. And they read as follows: the tariffs that are based on cost of supply be approved as recommended in the analysis sheet for implementation effective 1 July 2025, that the energy regulator notes the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality, that all cost information submitted by the municipality will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audit or audited financial figures by the regulator. And finally, that the municipality is required to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted in its cost of supply to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Leburu. Members, any questions, issues of clarity on the application? I think from my side, just a point of clarity, Ms. Leburu, you had indicated that the cost of supply tariff comes to 10.7%. However, the municipality applied for a lower tariff. But when I look at the analysis seems to be saying 14.3, or am I missing something on this application?
Okay, Chairperson, the cost of supply results reflects 11.7%. And then the municipality is applying for 11.3%. Apologies for that 14. I don't know where it was coming from, but the figures are 11.7 and proposed is 11.3%.
11.3. Okay. No, we'll have that corrected, members. Any other question, members, or point of clarity on this particular application? Mr. Mkiza, I see your mic is open. Do you want to come in, sir? Okay.
Apologies, covered, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Maseti, is your hand for a question? I take it. You may guide me.
It is just to augment for on paragraph 6.1.4, where we deal with the bulk purchases of that amount that's mentioned there. However, we are stating that includes 12% energy allowance, which is correct. We have no decision on the issue of benchmark. I think somebody's mic is on and it interrupts the clarity of the record. So this issue of 12%, it's not proper. We'll see that even considering the 17, most of the energy losses are single digit. It's not at 10%. That's it. There is no basis to aim for 12%. That is based on the old benchmarks that were found to be unlawful. So, and even some of the municipalities that we consider today, digit. So this 12% is not the end. When you apply the 12%, it then also not going to give us an accurate figure for that. So I just wanted members to take note of that. And I think there will need to be an adjustment of this so-called 12% energy losses, because it is nowhere. It is something that was found to be invalid as part of the benchmark methodology that we used. So we can't aim for inefficient energy losses when others have demonstrated that they achieve a single digit. That's the point. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Ms. Leburu, were you following that particular input from Ms. Maseti?
I note Ms. Maseti's point, but I don't think I understand it. Okay, so yeah, but the point is noted.
It is particularly on the energy losses.
It will be, Chairperson, if I may assist, it will be corrected by the leaders. What I'm saying is that NERSA has not taken any decision that says the benchmark for energy losses is 12%. That was the benchmark that was found to be invalid by the courts when we're still using benchmarks and guideline increases. That's what I'm talking about here. So this thing of the team using the 12%, especially on this one, I'm raising this one in particular because what they do when they test the revenue and improvements on the revenue, they use 12% benchmark. Once you test it on 12% benchmark, then you are not showing the accurate figure if you were using, for instance, 5% or 8%. Because if you're using 8% and not getting to the double digit, then it will give you a different figure for the revenue. So this 12%, I'm saying, it's not based on this decision. It is based on the old methodology, and there's no NERSA's decision. So we must be very careful, and we must not then expose NERSA to any litigation and of the benchmark. That was never a decision of the energy regulator. I think that the team is used to this 12%. When it's mentioned there, it's fine, but when they calculate it for purposes of checking and testing the revenue, it is not proper. That's 6.1.4. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarity, Mr. Seti. Mr. Mkhize, is there a follow-up or a new question from you?
Yes, it's a follow-up on this one. I think the team should look at it from a point of engagement with the individual municipality without conveying a message of retaining the previous benchmark stance as was then. Because I know that with some municipalities, for example, Temadlangeni, there was the issue of capping it, the actual losses to 12%, etc. So if some of these things are seen as arrangement with the particular municipalities, and then we'll have to then look at such figures as to where really we put them, because it is a one would note that it would be a standard practice to have some kind of tolerance levels based on the assets that are being considered in terms of the asset base, regulatory asset base, as well as other factors that they will then determine the level of maintenance and repairs that would be required, as well as the actual the energy losses that would be expected for that particular infrastructure. I think that would be important, just to rephrase the whole thing so it doesn't convey the wrong message that it is a retention of what was there in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I see that this check, your hand is up. You may come in.
Thanks, Chair. I think maybe, Chair, the confusion here is caused by the use of the words benchmark. It's not supposed to be called benchmarks, but it's supposed to be called a cap of 12%. Let me just explain, Chairperson. In the past years, it's true that in the past we had benchmarks and 12% losses were part of those benchmarks. However, when we develop the cost of supply framework, it is also within that framework that says that any losses that are above 12% will not be allowed. Say if a municipality has got 18% losses, then we'll only allow 12% and the 6 will not be allowed. And it's also in the model that we use, the Excel model that we are using for this. So it's just a matter of us maybe not using the word benchmark, as it may cause confusion, but clearly state that we are capping the losses to a limit of 12%. Thank you, Chair. Submit.
Thank you, that is true. So basically, you're highlighting the fact that the 12% cap on energy losses, it is in the framework. However, maybe we need to correct the words, the word benchmark to have. Is that your input?
That is true, Chairperson. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Members, I trust that you are covered, but I think what is also important is the fact that has been made to say that we must share with the municipality the level of that capping of energy losses. So we will request the team to then rephrase the wording there that is in the application. So throughout the applications, I think each one of you knows your applications where you have used the word benchmark highlights, that there will be that correction of that word with the capping. Members, on that note, the recommendations have been read into the record. Can I get an indication that members, and that correction of 14.3, I think on the two blocks on page 95 to be 11.3. On that note, can I get an indication that the members supports and the recommendation, and also that the team has noted the enhancements or corrections of the wording used? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. I also support the approval. We move on to the next application, which is Elias Motswaledi Municipality. I think the application indicates Kutatso Kekana. You may come in, ma'am, and present the application to the members.
Thank you, Chairperson. Elias Motswaledi is a municipality in Limpopo. It is applying for a tariff increase of 14.2%. It is operating at a deficit of 14.79% and the energy losses at 18.88%. There were no comments from the stakeholders, and the COS as applied for is in line with the framework. All expenses that were deemed unjustified have been adjusted accordingly. And the COS reflected a 14.2% increase to reach cost reflectivity, and the municipality applied for that 14.2% for over a period of 1 year. It is recommended that the energy regulator notes the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality. The energy regulator approves the tariffs that are based on the cost of supply as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1st July 2025. The municipality to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification and audit, and the municipality and NERSA have complied with the statutory requirements on public consultation processes that there were no comments received. The municipality to submit an audited financial report that reflects the impact of its cost of supply-based tariffs on customers, as well as on the licensee's sustainability and local economy. The date on which the report is to be submitted to be included in the correspondence to the municipality and licensee, and the municipality must submit to NERSA a report on specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound energy losses reduction plan, which will ensure that the energy losses are reduced. An appropriate budget needs to be allocated and spent in support of this, and implementation of this plan together with its budget must be monitored on a quarterly basis and report to NERSA biannually commencing 30th September 2025. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Kekana. Members, any questions, issues of clarity? But before we proceed, can I request that we check all our applications so that there are no changes that comes with the official application to the committee? Ms. Kekana, I think you may have picked that up on one of the pages that they were track changes not accepted. So if we can correct that. Members, any questions, issues of clarity? I don't see any hands. Members, the recommendations have been read into the record. And I trust that all the presenters do also note other points of enhancements raised in earlier application and that they will take those into account. The recommendation are from paragraph 10 on page 119 to 120. Members, without wasting any time, I believe they've been read into the record. Can I get an indication by show of hand that you support them? Thank you, Ms. Massetti, and Mr. Mkhize are also support and the approval of all the recommendations made under paragraph 10. On that note, we move on to the next application. It's Emanleni Municipality. And Tatefare, if you can lead the committee with this application, please, over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning. This application from Emadlangeni Municipality is based in KZN Province, and it was approved by the Council, and it was consulted by both the municipality and NERSA for 30 days. From our side as NERSA, there is no comment in relation to this application. The tariffs are based on cost of supply study, which is in line with NERSA's approved framework. The MINIC is proposing 18.2% in all their tariffs, which is the results of the cost of supply. The challenge in this application of the Emadlangeni is energy losses and the financial deficit. The recommendation is that the energy regulator to note the cost of supply and approve all the tariff for implementation from the 1st of July 2025. The municipality need to address energy losses and submit a quarterly report updating NERSA starting from 1st of September. The municipality need to submit a report accounting for all costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification audit. And lastly, the municipality need to submit an audited financial report that reflects the impact of its cost of supply-based tariff on its customers, as well as licensing sustainability and local economy. I thank you.
Thank you. Before I open the application for discussion by members, did you mention any comments? Did we receive any or not? I missed that.
Thank you, Chair. There is no comment in relation to this application.
Okay, thank you. Members, the application is before you. Any questions, issues of clarity or points of enhancement? I do not see any hand. I take it that the members support the application and the recommendation as presented in paragraph 19 on pages 137 to 138 as read into the record. By show of hand, members, can I get an indication that you do support the approval of the recommendations under paragraph 9? And thank you, Ms. Massetti. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I also support. We move on to the next application, which is an application from Emadlangeni Municipality, our local municipality. Ms. Leburu, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you once again, Chairperson. Emadlangeni Eastern Cape is applying for an average increase of 9.0%. The application went through publication on the NERSA's website, and we received no comments from the stakeholders. The municipality is not doing well financially and technically. This decline in its performance is demonstrated by the deficit level in the range of 48% and energy losses that have dropped drastically to 20%. The decrease in the surplus level is primarily attributed to the increase in total expenditure, which is eroding the municipality's profitability, and the municipality is required to work on its inefficiencies by managing this expenditure. In terms of the cost of supply, the cost of supply is compliant with the approved framework, and all the steps are aligned. Based on the outcome of the cost of supply, the result shows that the municipality, to achieve full cost reflectivity, it requires 9%, and the municipality is implementing exactly that. And there will be no, in terms of the tariffs, the municipality is not proposing for any structural major changes to its tariff schedule. the tariffs are kept as is and increased by the differential percentage increase to achieve the overall average increase of 9%. The recommendations on page 152 are reading as follows. The tariffs that are based on the cost of supply be approved as recommended in the tariff analysis sheet for implementation effective the 1st of July 2025. The energy regulator notes the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality, that all the cost information that were submitted by the municipality will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures by the regulator, and the municipality is required to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted in its cost of supply study to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification or audit process. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Liburu. Members, any questions, issues of clarity or points of enhancement? I'm so shocked by the increase in the energy losses from a 6.78 to 21.23% in just 1 year. I think we really need to ensure that there is a plan and that the municipality does something about these losses. They're just too high for them to have gone up this way in just 1 year. Members, I don't see any hand. I think that issue on energy losses from my side was just a comment to be noted, and also by the team. The recommendations have been read into the record. Members, can I, by show of hand, get an indication that you support them as presented under paragraph 9? Thank you, Ms. Moseti. I do support. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. We are going to be moving to the next application, which is in Dumeni municipality, and that will be led by Mr. Khare. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. This application from Ndumeni municipality is based in KZN province, and it has been approved by the council. The application was consulted by both the municipality and NERSA, and from our side, it was consulted for 30 days, and there's no comments in relation to this application. The tariffs are based on the cost of supply study. The MINIC is proposing 13.7%, and the MINIC decided to adopt a phase-in approach to implement the outcome of the cost of supply in order to reach the cost reflective. And this approach will protect the municipal sustainability and the customer from high inflated prices. The challenge in this municipality is high energy losses and the financial deficit, and the municipality has put measures in place to address the situation. The recommendation is that the energy regulator to note the cost of supply study and approve tariffs to be implemented from the 1st of July, and the municipality need to address the energy losses and submit a plan to NERSA quarterly starting from the 1st of September. And the municipality must submit a report accounting for all costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its verifications. And lastly, the municipality needs to submit audited financial report that reflects the impact of the cost of supply study tariffs on customers, as well as for the sustainability of the municipality on the local economy. I thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Khare, to complete your presentation, can you indicate if there were comments on the tariff that were publicized or not?
My apologies, Chairperson. I started with that. There was no comments on this application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Members, the application is before you. Any issues in terms of points for clarity or points of enhancements? I don't see any hand. Members, the recommendations are on paragraph 9 on page 169, and they have been read into the record. Can I, by show of hand, get an indication that you support the recommendations as presented? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Ms. Moseti. support the approval of the recommendations as provided in paragraph 9 on page 169. We then move on to the next application. It's a George municipality, and it will be led by Ms. Mabinya. And over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, Chairperson, members and colleagues. George Municipality is in the Western Cape. The overall performance of the municipality is quite good, as indicated by a surplus of 15.87 and energy losses of 9.88%. NERSA complied with the statutory requirements regarding the public participation process, and no objections were received from the stakeholders. The municipality has also confirmed that it has done its own public participation process. George submitted a cost of supply which was assessed against the NERSA approved COS framework, and it meets all the criteria of each step. The costs were also verified against the applicable deforms and the trial balance. While the COS study reflects an average increase of 18.5% to achieve cost reflectivity, the municipality adopted a phase-in approach to implement a 10.9% tariff increase for the 2025-26 tariff cycle, which is below the COS outcome. The reason given by the municipality for a phase-in approach is that the municipality wants to keep the tariff increase reasonable for customer affordability, while also trying to mitigate against an unnecessary surplus on its budget. Looking at the municipality's good performance indicators, it is NERSA's view that the municipality will remain sustainable with the proposed 10.90% increase. It is therefore recommended, Chairperson, that REC notes the COS report submitted by the municipality. The tariffs that are based on a cost of supply report be approved as recommended in the tariff analysis for implementation on 1 July 2025, and that all the costs submitted will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures by NERSA. The municipality is also to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted to allow the energy regulator to perform its independent verification audit. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Mabinya, for that orderly presentation. I wish all the presenters can follow that. For example, the issue of public participation, if the colleagues can just indicate on both sides, whether on NERSA side and the Munich side, that it was done properly for the record and that there were no comments. If there are comments, please highlight to the committee as to how those were dealt with. On that note, let me just allow members to come in for any issues that they may have of clarity, questions, or points of enhancements. Members, over to you. Thank you, Ms. Masetti. You may come in.
Chairperson, just a quick thing is for enhancement. We may have missed that sentence on paragraph 2.3 on the energy losses. I don't think that we can encourage the fact that, which is exactly the thing that I was discouraging. Previously, the municipality kept the energy losses below 9%. Now the situation is deteriorating. It is now 9.88, so it's closer to double digit. So we can therefore put a statement that says this is an acceptable level. So we can't say that. We must delete that part and just say that the municipality is encouraged to put measures to reduce this amount, even further, to reduce this amount so that it maintains lower levels of energy losses. That's what we must say. And just remove the part that says it is acceptable. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Colleagues, I hope you are noting this particular point or statement under energy losses. If it appears in any of your application, just read it into the record that will be corrected. On that note, members, the recommendations have been read into the record, and the recommendations are on paragraph 8 of page 186, and they go up to, yes, they are on paragraph 8 on 186 by show of hand. With that point of correction on paragraph 2.3 under energy losses. Can I get an indication that you support the approval of the recommendations? Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. I also support. We then move on to the next application, which is the Greater Tzaneen Municipality, and we will be led by Ms. Nkopo. Over to you. Ms. Maseti, sorry, your hand is still up. Okay, thank you. Ms. Nkopo, over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. With regards to Greater Tzaneen, we're seeing a financial improvement on its health because of the energy losses that have reduced. And then the municipality has undertaken a COS study and to determine its revenue requirement for the financial year 25-26. The study aligns with the NERSA framework, and it has used the latest audited data, and the revenues from all the steps are aligned. When looking at the outcome of the study, the key finding is that the cost reflectivity indicates a 14.6% increase, whereas the municipality has proposed a 13.8% increase. The reason for this, the municipality is phasing in the increase and has indicated that it will remain sustainable within the proposed increase. Both NERSA and the municipality have consulted on the application, and no stakeholder comments were received. The recommendations read as follows. The energy regulator notes the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality. The energy regulator approves the tariffs that are based on the cost of supply as recommended in the tariff analysis. And then the municipality to submit a report accounting to all the costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification and audit. And then the municipality to submit audited financial reports that reflect the impact of the cost of supply-based tariffs on customers, as well as on the licenses, sustainability, and local economy. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Nkopo. Members, any questions, issues of clarity, points of enhancements that you may have? Please, if you do have any of those, raise your hand. I will recognize you to give your input. I do not see any hand. The recommendations on this application for Greater Tzaneen Municipality for 2025-26 financial year are on paragraph 8, page 205, and they have been read into the record. And on that note, members, can I get an indication that you do support this particular, support the approval of this application? Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. I do support as well. We then move on to the next application, which is an application from Joe Morolong, local municipality. Ms. Mapitsing, kindly lead the committee with this particular application. Over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning, members and management and staff. Joe Morolong municipality is situated in Northern Cape. The municipality is applying for an average increase of 11.4. The financial and technical performance of this municipality is not satisfactory, as indicated by the high deficit and the high energy losses. The municipality high deficit is primarily driven by factors such as high energy losses and lack of cross-subsidy within customer categories, and as the customer mix within or customer base within the municipality, it's mainly domestic customer. The municipality is encouraged to address the high energy losses to improve its revenue collection. The licensee and NERSA have complied with the legislative requirements on public consultation process, and that there were no comments received. In terms of cost of supply, the municipality submitted cost of supply study, which was assessed to determine if it meets all the requirements of the approved COS. And the study followed 5-step process, which entails revenue requirement, cost functionalization, cost classification, cost allocation, and with a goal rate, with a goal of rate setting. NERSA worked closely with this municipality. All costs provided by the licensee have been verified against the deform trial balance audited financial statement. Furthermore, costs that were deemed inefficient were also disallowed. The cost of supply, Chairperson recommends an average increase of 12.8 for the licensee to achieve full cost reflectivity. However, the municipality is proposing 11% increase to review its tariff for 25-26 financial year. In terms of recommendation, Chairperson, the energy regulator knows the cost of supply submitted by the municipality. The energy regulator approved the tariff that are based on the cost of supply as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1 July 2025. The municipality submits a report accounting for all costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification and audit. All cost information. Sorry for that. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figure by the regulator. The municipality is required to implement and monitor the plan set and submit a progress report to NERSA on a quarterly basis, commencing from 30 September 2025. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Mapiting. Members, any comments, issues of clarity on this particular application or points of enhancements that you may have? I don't see any hand. On that note, the recommendations are on page 218 and they have been read into the record, paragraph 9. By show of hand, members, can I get an indication that you do approve the recommendation as presented in paragraph 9 of 218? Thank you, Ms. Masetti. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I also support. We move on to the next application, which is Kgatelopele Municipality, and it will be presented by Ms. Tanda. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, Chairperson and colleagues. Kgatelopele Municipality located in the Northern Cape. Consultation. The tariff application was approved by the council. Customers were consulted and evidence was submitted to NERSA, published by NERSA on the NERSA website for 30 days and no comment received. The financial performance of the municipality is not satisfactory as evident to the energy loss increase. However, the municipality have submitted a detailed energy loss to NERSA and NERSA will continue to monitor the energy loss. The cost of supply was conducted and the study is in line with NERSA's framework. The tariff application is 9.74% across all the customers. Municipality have adopted a phase-in approach. This approach will help to protect the municipality revenue base and support its financial sustainability. The municipality is introducing the SSEG's tariff, and the SSEG tariff was included as the study in the cost of supply study. I therefore recommend the tariff that are based on the COS report to be approved as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1st of July the municipality to support a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted in its cost of supply study to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification process. The municipality to also submit their audited financial report that reflect the impact of its cost of supply-based tariff on customers, as well as on the licensee, sustainability, and local economy. The municipality must also submit to NERSA their progress report on the implementation, the submitted energy losses report by 30th September 2024. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tanda. Members, any questions, issues of clarity, or points of enhancements on this particular application? Thank you, Mr. Mkiza. You may come in.
Thanks. You know, I look at this application generally. I think it's going to be important to really interrogate the work that is going to be done post this. Maybe I would recommend to the team that there be the to get members to be part of this, to really look at other implications therein. And I hope that there is also a robust engagement with the COGTAs as well as the SALCAs and the municipalities around this. I'm looking at it from the wires business vis-a-vis the retail business. One, in all of them, I've seen that the large cost element is on the retail business, but we seemingly are not pulling in terms of the wires side of things, in terms of any form of, I would say, substantive or substantial investment. And this could just be, could catch up with us down the line, more like a disaster waiting to happen. And also, if I look at when we talk a lot about losses, as to the sustainability of the measures put in place to make sure that those losses, that those measures are sustainable or sustained, it brings that into question, because it also then talks to the issue of staff training and staff retention. I'm looking at page 223 of this, which does include such. I think that we should have that for comfort in terms of us really being on top of what is happening in this space, and ensure that we've got really cost-effective measures put in place, and deal with the issues of affordability, which will then talk to the increases going forward. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkiza, for that input. Ms. Masetti.
Thank you, Chairperson. A quick one, Chairperson, that I would request that going forward, in the recommendations, we must include it, is to require municipalities to also submit a plan that will demonstrate how they would reduce the ESCOM debt, because it impacts on the expenditure of the municipality. So if the municipality spends, it also affects their cost, and we can't really then be happy with supply if the expenditure is too high, because that expenditure will include even the interest and all of that. Yes, in some areas, some of the analysts do state what is the expenditure there. They deal with the expenditure and also indicate what has been excluded. But with some analysts, they don't touch on that. But what is important with this one is that it owes ESCOM to start off with, and by owing ESCOM, it impacts on these municipalities' expenditure. And then it will be difficult for us to really see what are the real costs and reasonable cost that we must include as part of its cost of supply and allow such cost. So I would like to request that with all municipalities, especially those ESCOM, for bulk cases, and some of them is the exceedance of the NMD. So all of those things must be stated clearly in the recommendations. State that the municipality must provide a plan within to NERSA, demonstrating how it is going to address the issue of the also the interest, to make sure that they're not included in the supply, as well as the improvement of the revenue by the municipality concerned. I think that's what I would suggest that we include in the recommendations. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Masetti. I think from my side, it's just a point of enhancements on page 234, where we're stating that the Munich has included a new tariff on the SSEG. We are saying it's done, the inclusion is done in their cost of supply, but we're not also giving clarity that it is also, the inclusion is also in line with the net billing and wheeling rules. So it's just to enhance that 6.1, such that any reader can be assured that there is compliance with the requirements of the cost of supply and as well as the rules. So that is from my side. I think, colleagues, we have heard the input from Mr. Kize on the need to have engagement with other relevant parties on the issues of wires and retail business. And the important point made by Ms. Masetti to say that a lot of these Munichs are owing ESCOM in terms of their bulk account. And it is important that where this has been picked up, we request that the Munich provide us with a plan on how they intend to reduce that particular debt, because the debt generates an interest, and that interest tends to be included in the applicant's expenditure. So, colleagues, if we can just note this throughout all the applications and ensure that where the Munich has such a debt, we make that part of the recommendations. On that note, members, can I, by show of hand, get an indication that you support this application from Kgatelopele Municipality with those points of enhancements that you have raised for consideration in the recommendations? Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Thank you, Ms. Masetti. I also support this particular application. We move on to the next one, which is Gauteng Municipality, and is going to be presented to us by Ms. Mogadima. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone. Gauteng is situated in Northwest. The municipality is applying for an average increase of 9.5. The financial and technical performance have improved as indicated by declining deficit and reduction on energy losses. The licensee and NERSA have complied with the statutory requirements on public consultation process, and there were no comments received. In terms of cost of supply, the municipality submitted the cost of supply study, which was assessed and was aligned to NERSA approved cost of supply framework. The cost of supply study recommends an average tariff increase of 9.5 for the licensee to achieve full cost reflective tariff. The municipality is also proposing an average increase of 9.5. It is therefore recommended that the energy regulator knows the cost of supply submitted by the municipality The energy regulator approves the tariffs that are based on the cost of supplier as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1st of July 2025. The municipality submits a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification or audit. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audit financial figures by the regulator. The municipality is required to implement and monitor the plan set and submit a progress report to NERSA on a quarterly basis commencing from the 30th of September 2025, and also noting the comments that were raised before. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Makadima. Members, any questions, issues of clarity that you may have on this application? I do not see any hand. Members, the recommendations have been read into the record, and may I, by show of hand, get an indication that you support the recommendations provided for in paragraph 9 on page 250. And thank you, Mr. Mkhize and Ms. Maseti. Also support the approval of the recommendation as provided. And we then move on to the next application. It is a Kai local municipality, and the indication is that Ms. Lindobuhle Mkhize will lead the presentation of this application. Over to you, Ms. Mkhize.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, Chairperson, members and colleagues. Kema Municipality is situated in the Northern Cape. The municipality is applying for an average of 11%. The financial and technical performance have improved as indicated by the decline in deficits and reduction on energy losses. The improvement in deficit is due to the reduction on interest due to ESCOM, energy losses, and NMD, notify maximum demand. In terms of the energy losses, the municipality have improved from the 31.23% in 2022-23 financial year to 17.70% in 2023-24 financial year. The municipality is encouraged to monitor the high energy losses to improve its revenue collection. The municipality and NERSA have complied with the legislative requirements on public consultation processes, and that there were no comments received. In terms of the cost of supply, the municipality submitted the COS study, which was assessed to determine if it meets all requirements approved COS framework. The study follows 5 steps process, which entails revenue requirement, cost functionalization, and cost classification, cost allocation, with a goal of rate design. NERSA worked closely with the licensee, and all costs provided by the licensee have been verified against the DFOM, trial balance, and audited financial statements. Furthermore, costs that were deemed inefficient were also disallowed. The cost study recommends an average tariff increase of 22.4 for the licensee to achieve its full cost reflectively. However, the municipality is proposing an 11% increase to review its tariffs for the 2025-26 financial year. Some of the consideration for this decision includes the licensee's requirement to maintain a sustainable tariff level to stimulate demand, ability to cover ESCOM bulk electricity cost, and ensure customer affordability while maintaining long-term financial stability. Recommendations are as detailed on page 262, read as follows. The energy regulator notes the cost of supply submitted by the municipality. The energy regulator approves the tariffs that are based on the cost of supply as recommended in the tariff analysis session for implementation by the municipality with effective from 1st of July 2025. The municipality submits a report accounting for all costs that have been noted to enable the energy regulator to perform its independent verification audit. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures by the regulator. The municipality is required to implement and monitor the plan set and submit a progress report to NERSA on a quarterly basis commencing 30 September 2025. I submit, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mkize. Members, the submission is before you. Any questions, issues of clarity that you may have on this particular application? Please, if you do, raise your hand and give your input. I don't see any hand from the members, and the recommendations are on paragraph 8 and they have been read into the records. And may I, by show of hand, get an indication from members that they do support the approval of the recommendation in that paragraph. And thank you, Ms. Masetti. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. I also do support. We move on to the next application, which is Mandeni, and it will be led by Mr. Khare. Over to you, Bob.
Thank you, Chairperson. This application from Mandeni is based in KZN Province, and it has been approved by the Municipal Council before it came to NERSA. The application complies with the statutory requirements in terms of public consultation. It was consulted by both municipality to its customers and NERSA for 30 days. There are no comments in relation to this application that has been received by NERSA. The tariffs are based on cost of supply study, which is in line with NERSA's approved framework. And the Munich is not owing ESCOM. The Munich is proposing 14.3%, and the Munich decided to adopt the phase-in approach in order to implement the results of the cost of supply. This approach will protect municipal sustainability and customers from high prices. The recommendation is that NERSA to note the cost of supply, and approve the tariff for 1st of July to be implemented. The municipality to report accounting for all costs that have been noted and to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification audit. And lastly, the municipality to submit audited financial report that reflect the impact of the cost of supply based tariff for customers and for license sustainability and local economy. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khare. Members, any questions, issues of clarity or points of enhancement that you may have on this application? If you have any of those, please do raise your hand and give your input. I do not see any hand from the members. On that note, members, the recommendations have been read into the record as amended. If you see on paragraph 9, the recommendations are very brief, but I think that Khare elaborated on them as requested in other earlier applications. So by show of hand, members, can I get an indication that you support the recommendations as read into the record? I do support. Thank you, Ms. Masetti. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. The recommendations are approved, and Dr. Khare, we move on to the next application, which is Mantsopa Municipality, and it will be led by Ms. Tanda. Ms. Tanda? Mr. Mkize, sorry. It was a lingering hand. Ms. Tanda, you may proceed and lead the committee on this particular application.
Mantsopa local municipality located in Free State. The consultation by NERSA was done. The tariff application was published. Customers were consulted by municipality, and the application was approved by the council. Upon NERSA's consultation, no comment were received. The financial performance for the municipality is not satisfactory, as evident with the deficit. However, the energy loss is reducing. NERSA will continue to monitor the energy loss. The municipality indicated that they are in contact with ESCOM to be included in the distribution agency agreement to assist them with a reduction of the ESCOM debt. Cost of supply study was submitted and assessed. The study is in line with the NERSA's framework. The tariff application is 13%. The municipality have adopted the phase-in approach. This approach will help the municipality revenue base and support its financial sustainability and to protect the customers. It is therefore recommended that the tariffs are based on the COS report be approved as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1st of July 2025. The municipality to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted in its cost of supply study to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification process. The municipality to submit an audited financial report that reflects the impact of its cost of supply-based tariff on customers, as well as on the licensee's sustainability and local economy. The municipality is also requested to submit their progress report on the implementation of the submitted energy loss report progress by the 30th of September 2025. I thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Members, any questions, issues of clarity or points of enhancements on this application, noting that the presenter notes all the other comments made in earlier applications. Members? I don't see any hand. The recommendations are on page 294 and they've paragraph 9 and they've been read into the record. And I would like members to indicate by a show of hand that they do support the recommendations as presented. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I also support the recommendations. We then move on to the next application, which is an application from Tatekare, if you can mute yourself. It is an application from Matatiele. It's your application, Nwanda. Over to you then, sir. You may proceed.
Thank you, Chair. This application from Matatiele is based in KZN in Eastern Cape Province. The application has been approved by the council and it has met the statutory requirements in terms of public consultation. It was consulted by municipality to its customers and by NERSA to affected stakeholders for 30 days. And from our side as NERSA, there's no comment received in relation to this application. The tariffs are based on cost of supply study, which is in line with NERSA's approved framework. The municipality is proposing 15.9%. The municipality decided to adopt a phase-in approach to implement the outcome of the cost of supply study. And this approach will protect the municipal sustainability and the customer from high prices. The challenge in this municipality is the financial deficit. The recommendation is that the REC to note the cost of supply from Matatiele and approve the tariff for implementation for the 1st of July. And the municipality to update NERSA on the process of settling ESCOM debt quarterly to send a report to us. And the municipality must submit a report accounting for all costs that have been noted on the cost of supply study for us to do an independent verification audit. And lastly, for the municipality to submit audited financial report that reflect the impact of the cost of supply based tariff on customers, as well as for municipality sustainability and for the local economy. I thank you.
Thank you, Ntate Khare. I will allow members to come in, but please note under energy losses, as we have indicated earlier, that the wording and that the losses are acceptable should be deleted, and use the word that we are encouraging municipality to ensure that their losses are continuously reduced. If you can note that. Members, any comments, issues for clarity on this particular application? I don't see any hand from the members, and I think the recommendations on paragraph 8 are to be aligned with the other recommendations that were done, and I think they have been read into the record. And these are on page 309. On that note, members, can I get an indication that you support the recommendations as read into the record? Thank you, Ms. Masetti. I do support. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. The application is approved, or the recommendations as presented in an enhanced manner are approved. We then move on to the next application, which is Bizana Municipality. And we are going to be led by Ms. Matlo. Over to Ms. Matlo. Mr. Mkhize, your hand is up. I take it it's a legacy hand.
Good morning. Okay. Good morning, Chairperson, members, and colleagues. Mbizana Municipality is situated in Eastern Cape. The financial and technical performance are not satisfactory as indicated by high percentage deficit and energy losses. Okay, sorry, my apologies, Chair. Let me start again. Mbizana Municipality is situated in the Eastern Cape. The financial and technical performance of the municipality is not satisfactory as indicated by the percentage surplus, by the percentage deficit. The reason for the percentage deficit is due to 98% reduction in new connection as well as outsourced services. With regards to the public consultation, the municipalities did a consultation on their side, and also from NESA's side, the tariff application was published on the NESA website and also on the social media, and there were no comments received from the stakeholders. And with regards to the COS, the cost of supply studies was submitted to NESA. Upon receiving the study, the costs were verified through the DFORM, audited financial statements, and trial balance. All the cost of supply steps were assessed to check if there are some misalignment, and there were no misalignment. All the costs were aligned. And to achieve cost reflectivity, the municipality has to increase its tariffs by 17.9%. However, the municipality is proposing to increase its tariff by 12.74%. With regards to the recommendations, the energy regulator knows the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality. The tariffs that are based on the cost of supply report be approved as recommended in the above tariff analysis sheet for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1 July 2025. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures. The municipality to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification audit. And the municipality is also required to manage its expenditure to enhance surplus levels on electricity account. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Matlo. Members, any questions, issues of clarity, corrections on the application? Mr. Mkhize?
Yeah, just a small but important thing. That map at the beginning, if it's not going to be legible, maybe it's better not to even have it. Else have a map that is legible. Thank you.
That is noted, colleagues. I just hope that there is progress with assistance in getting all the maps and through our GIS as well, if we can get clear ones from the licensees. Ms. Masetti, you may come.
Yep, Chairperson, mine is just two things. One is the new tariffs that have been introduced for the time of use tariffs that are introduced for the large power users. I think maybe to monitor those closely so that we can check the impact, because when there's an introduction of new tariffs, it is important also that we don't just look at the applicant who's applying, but also to look at the impact of that tariff on the consumers or customers. So if we can make sure that on this one, we include on the issues that are recommended, that at least those tariffs, the time of use tariffs that are introduced as the same, that we monitor closely in terms of the impact. I think there's a number of those tariffs that have been introduced by this municipality. So that is important. The second thing, Chairperson, that we, which is one thing that I had spoken about when I was talking about the fact that scrutinizing the cost of supply is not just about compliance with the framework. It is now also to look at the cost drivers. So you will see in all of these that we've looked at, yes, some of them, the main cost driver is the purchases from ESCOM. And those purchases, also those cost of purchases, they've, in some instances, the fact that there's interest and so forth. So the second thing now that we need to look at is the fact that that rationalization of tariffs by ESCOM, surely it must assist these municipalities, and some of them did not have an opportunity to align after ESCOM has restructured its tariffs. So it has a benefit for municipalities in terms of the cost of bulk purchases. So they have to align. So this then goes to this statement that they generalize to say that for the municipality to get to the cost of supply, it will need to increase the tariff by X. We can't be talking about it will need to increase the tariffs by X, because we still need to deal with those main cost drivers. We still need to deal with the alignment after ESCOM has restructured to see what are the cost savings on the municipalities, because it might affect their cost of supply. And then the third thing, Chairperson, is the fact that even with this municipality, there's an increase in the operating expenditure. And that increase needs to be looked at carefully. And the other increase that came about there that is significant is the labor cost. So that tells us that these are things that need to be looked into carefully, instead of us putting that statement that says for the municipality to get its cost of supply, outcome of the cost of supply, it needs to increase the tariffs. It becomes wrong because we've got all of these things that you still need to check. I'm trying to demonstrate this point that I've been making, that some of the cost of supply studies and their outcomes, we can't just say that we must work towards getting there when we still have not done certain things. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Masetti, for that input, and I trust the colleagues have noted them in, and this should apply to all the applications. The recommendations have been read into the record. Members, they are on paragraph 9 on page 324. And in addition to that, it's the input that has been made to say that for new tariffs, the team on this particular application, rather, there is a need to look at the new tariff, particularly the one that relates to large energy users. We need to have that monitored to check the impact of this new tariff on these customers. And also the point for enhancement that when we do analyze the cost of supply, it shouldn't only to ensure that the municipalities or the applicant complies with the framework, but to ensure that we look at the cost drivers in the application and ensure that these are aligned with ESCOM's tariff structures. If not done now, they would have to be, if they're not done prior to the application being brought, they should be done as a next process. On that note, I trust Ms. Maseti have captured your points of enhancements, which I assume the team has also noted. On that note, members, can I get an indication that you support the recommendations with those additional enhancements? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I do support as well. Thank you, Ms. Maseti, rather, apologies. We then move on to the next application, which is Naledi, and it will be led by Ms. Khwadi.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair. Naledi municipality is applying for an average increase of 12% for the 25-26 financial year. The licensee and NESA have complied with the legislative requirements regarding the public consultation process, and that there were no comments received. The licensee financial and technical performances have improved, as indicated by the improvement on the deficit and energy losses. The municipality indicated that it owes ESCOM. However, it is approved for the National Treasury Debt Relief Plan with effect from December 2023. The municipality currently was assessed and currently had greatly met 73% of the condition during the cycle of this program. This will help the municipality to manage its ESCOM bulk account. The licensee cost of supply study was submitted and was assessed to ensure compliance with the approved COS framework. All costs provided by the licensee have been verified against the reforms, trial balance, and audited financial statement. Furthermore, costs that were deemed inefficient were also disallowed. The COS study recommends an average tariff increase of 19.5% for the licensee to achieve full cost reflectivity. However, the municipality is proposing 12% increase to review its tariff. The reason for that to implement the lower increases include licensee requirements to maintain a sustainable tariff level, ability to cover ESCOM bulk account, and customer affordability. The municipality also utilized the cost of supply study results to inform a gradual approach to achieving cost-reflective tariff. This approach involves imposing different tariff increases or to progressively align with the actual cost of supply, and also introduce basic charge for domestic and commercial prepaid customers. The recommendations are on page 342 and are read as follows. The energy regulator to note the cost of supply submitted by the municipality. The energy regulator approved the tariff that are based on the cost of supply is recommended in the tariff analysis sheet for implementation with effect from 1st July 2025. The municipality to submit a report accounting all the costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification or audit. All the cost information submitted by the municipality will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures by the regulator, and also taking into account all recommendation, comments raised, and guidance from the members. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khwadi. Members, any questions, issues of clarity, or points of enhancements on this application? I do not see any hand, and I take it that the recommendation on paragraph 6 on page 342 have been read into the record, and I would like to get an indication that members do support the recommendations as presented by show of hand, members. Mr. Mkhize, and I do support as well. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. The application is approved. We then move on to the next one, which is the application from Polokwane municipality, and it will be led by Ms. Nkopo. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairperson. Polokwane municipality is applying for a 11.32%. The municipality's financial and technical performance is satisfactory. However, the municipality will need to monitor its energy losses as they are slightly increasing. When looking at the COS, the municipality has developed its COS study and it's aligned to the COS framework, and the costs have been verified against the latest audited data. With regards to stakeholder comments, both NERSA and the municipality has consulted, and no stakeholder comments were received for this particular tariff application. But however, there was a query that was received from one stakeholder regarding the conditions that were approved on the tariff analysis for the last financial year. The stakeholder comments and the analysis has been detailed in the tariff application. And then for now, what is outstanding is the approval letter, is the tariff, it's the letter to the stakeholder, and that it's in the CO's office and it's going under review before the CO assigns that letter. With regards to the tariff application, the municipality has, as I indicated earlier, has applied for 11.32%. And the study is indicating a 16.6%. However, the municipality will face in this increase, and then it will also remain sustainable with the proposed increase of 11.32%. And then the recommendations read as follows. The regulator notes the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality. The energy regulator approves the tariffs that are based on the cost of supply as recommended in the tariff analysis section. And then the municipality should submit a report accounting to all the costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification audit. And then the municipality must submit an audited financial report that reflects the impact of its cost of supply-based tariffs on customers, as well as on the licenses, sustainability, and local economy. All other comments that have been raised by the members are also considered and will be effected. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Nkopo. I hope that includes the map that Mr. Mkhize highlighted. The Polokwane one as well. It's not very clear. Members, on that note, the recommendations have been read into the record. They are on paragraph 9 of page 359. By show of hand, can I get an indication that you do support the approval of the recommendations as presented? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize, and I also support. Thank you, Ms. Maseki.
Chairperson, with my approval,
Yes,
it's just important that we make sure that the bad debts there, which is affecting the financial state of the municipality, that that bad debts is not going to be part of the cost. These are things that when we verify the cost, we make sure that we disallow those things so that the cost of supplies is not where it is, because they include all of what they regard as cost to themselves. And you'll recall that even with ESCOM, we did not provide for any allowance for bad debts. So we must not do it also with the municipalities. They need to fix their debts. So we did not indicate here what are we doing in the analysis in terms of paragraph 2.1.2 on bad debts. Thanks. So they must deal with their debts and clear them and provide a plan. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Maseki. Ms. Nkopo, the approval is subject to an addition of that recommendation on the issue of dealing with the bad debts. Ms. Maseki, I take it then with that, or maybe let me just put the recommendations again for approval. They have been read into the record with the addition on the requirement on how the Munich is going to deal with the bad debt, which should not be part of the actual cost of the municipality. Mr. Mkhize, do you support that amendment? Thank you, sir. So, Ms. Maseki's thumbs up.
I support it, but further, it should be also applicable to other municipalities or distributors. Thank you.
Okay, no, I think that is noted. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize and Ms. Maseki. We then move on to the next application. The next application is from Ramutsere Muilwa, local municipality. Ms. Sekhwadi?
Thank you. Ramutsere Muilwa municipality is applying for an average increase of 11.7%. The licensee and NERSA have complied with the legislative requirements regarding the public consultation process, and there were no comments received for this municipality. The licensee financial and technical performance have improved, as indicated by the improvement on the deficit and also energy loss reduction. The municipality also indicated that the OSCOM, however, it also approved for the National Treasury Debt Relief Plan with effect from December 2023. Currently, the municipality was assessed and it had greatly met 88% of the condition during the cycle of the program. The licensee cost of supply that was submitted it was assessed by NERSA to ensure compliance with the approved COS framework. All costs provided by the licensee have been verified against the DFORM's trial balance and audited financial statement. Furthermore, costs that were deemed inefficient were also disallowed. The COS study recommends an average tariff increase of 21.9 for the licensee to achieve full cost reflectivity. However, the municipality is proposing 11.53 to increase its tariff for the 25-26 financial year. The municipality indicated that the reason for that they're considering the customer affordability. The municipality is also utilizing the cost of supply study results to inform gradual approach to achieving cost-reflective tariffs. This approach involves imposing different tariffs between customers to align with the actual cost of supply. The licensee is not proposing any structural changes to its tariff for this financial year. The recommendations are on page 374 and they are read as follows. The energy regulator notes the cost of supply study submitted by the municipality. The energy regulator approved the tariff that are based on the COS, the cost of supply, as recommended in the tariff analysis section for the implementation with effect from 1st July 2025. The municipality submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification or audit. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures by the energy regulator, and also taking into account all the recommendation, comments raised, and guidance from members. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khwadi. Members, any questions, issues of clarity or points of enhancements on this particular application? Thank you, Ms. Maseti. You may come in, ma'am.
Just one point, Chairperson. If the team can also monitor and check or even touch on the impact of the IBTs. Because if one looks at the difference from block 1 to block 2 to block 3, the difference is quite significant, and that will also have an impact on customers, and this applies across the municipalities that we have considered today. So it's also important to us to look at the relevance of these IBTs and also the impact. So the relevance and the impact is quite important, and they have not touched on that in terms of scrutinizing the increases and the difference between the blocks themselves. Thank you.
Thank you for that enhancements or guidance to the team. I hope it's noted. It will apply. It should be applied to all the applications. On that note, members, the recommendations are on paragraph 5 of page 374, and noting the enhancement of a need to really monitor the relevance and impact of the IBTs on customers to be taken into account in this application and all the others that are to follow. On that note, can I get an indication that members support the recommendations with that addition? Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I also support We then move on to the next application. It's an application from Raymond Mhlaba Municipality. Ms. Matlo, over to you.
Good morning once more, Chairperson, members and colleagues. Raymond Mhlaba is situated in the Eastern Cape. The municipality is applying for an average increase of 15.9%. The financial and technical performance are not satisfactory as indicated by the high percentage deficit and the energy losses. The higher percentage deficit is mainly due to finance cost against ESCOM account. With regards to public consultation, the municipality has done the public consultation on its side, on their side for 30 days, and NERSA also did the public consultation where the tariff application was published on the NERSA website and also on the social media. The cost of supply study was submitted to, okay, there were no comments received with regards to the tariff application that was posted on the NERSA website. With regards to the cost of supply study, the cost of supply study was submitted to NERSA, and then upon receiving the cost of supply study, the costs were verified against the DFORM, the audited financial statements, and the trial balance, and the cost of supply steps were assessed. They all found to be aligned. And then with regards to the results of the COS result is proposing an average increase of 64.9% to reach full cost reflectivity. However, the municipality is proposing 15.9% in order to be sustainable. With regards to the recommendation, the energy regulator knows the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality. The tariffs that are based on the cost of supply report be approved as recommended in the tariff analysis sheet for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1 July 2025. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures. The municipality to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification. And then the municipality is required to manage its expenditure to enhance surplus levels on electricity account. And then the municipality must submit the report on how to deal with the energy losses and submit to report by 30 September 2025. I thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Ms. Matlo. Members, any questions, issues of clarity on this particular application? I do not see any hand from the members. Members, the recommendations have been read into the record as provided for in paragraph 9 of page 389, and also for members to note that all the other inputs that affect this application, all inputs already made that affect this application have been noted. And I would like to get the members' indication that they do support the recommendations as presented on page 389, paragraph 9. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. I also support. Mr. Mkiza? Thank you, Mr. Mkiza. We move on to the next application, which is Setsoto Municipality, which will be led by Ms. Tanda. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning again, Chairperson and the colleagues. Setsoto Municipality is located in the Free State Province. The consultation was done by NERSA, which was to publish the tariff application, and no comment were received. The customers were also consulted by the municipality, and the evidence was submitted to NERSA as a proof, and the tariff application was approved by the municipality council. The financial performance is satisfactory as evident with surplus and energy loss within the NERSA acceptable level. The cost of supply study was submitted and assessed. The study is in line with the NERSA's cost of supply framework. The municipality is applying for 15% tariff increase as per their cost of supply study results. The 15% tariff increase is across all the customer category. I therefore recommend the energy regulator note the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality. The tariffs that are based on the COS report be approved as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1st of July 2025. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audit financial figures by the regulator. The municipality to submit an audited financial report that reflects the impact of its cost of supply-based tariff on customers, as well as on the licensee's sustainability and local economy. The date on which the report is to be submitted be included in the correspondence to the municipality. I therefore, I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Tanda. Members, any questions, issues of clarity or points of enhancements on this particular application? If you have any of those, please do raise your hand and you will be recognized to make your input. I do not see any hand. Members, the recommendations have been read into the records and they are on page 404, paragraph 10. And I think there's a need for a noting of the enhancements that have been made in the other application that are relevant to this one. By show of hand, members, can you indicate that you support the recommendations? And thank you, Mr. Mkize, Ms. Maseti. I also support.
Chair?
Yes, Ms. Maseti.
Chairperson, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, Mr. Mkize. Oh, I thought we were voting. Apologies if you're not. You may come in.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I tried to raise my hand earlier. Apologies if that doesn't come through to you. I just on the deform statistics on 391, if that just could be reconciled with the narrative. For example, commercial, it appears to be 40, but at the top is written as 37. Just want to make sure that the figures reflect what is provided in the narrative there. And I think on the energy analysis is noted. Yeah, that is mainly the thing that I just like us, the team, just to look, verify, and make sure that what is in the narratives correspond to what is in the tables. Otherwise, I'm happy to support the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Tanda, can you confirm that before I request members to consider a recommendation? The page 391, the figures and what is stated there in the narrative, whether there is no discrepancy? And that is shortly, can you assist?
Apologies, I didn't open the pack. I was struggling to open the pack due to the volume. So I opened my analysis. Can I ask Mr. Mkize to repeat?
In terms of analysis, look at page 2 of 15. 2 of 15.
Okay, thanks.
And the question is the figures that we have in the narrative there and those that are in the table, are they correct?
Chairperson, maybe without delaying the meeting, I think you can just look at it and update it accordingly. So everything is correct.
Okay, so our approval will be subject to the verification of those figures on that particular page. Members, by show of hand.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ms. Tanda. By show of hand, can I get an indication that you support the recommendations with this subject to the verification of those figures on P391, which is page 2 of your submission, Ms. Tanda? Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. And also support the recommendations. We will then move on to the next applicant, and the next applicant is Steve Chwete Municipality. And we are going to be led in that application by, let me just check the name so that I don't get it wrong, but it's normally Ms. Nkopo. Ms. Nkopo may be wrong.
Thank you, Chairperson. Steve Chedwe is applying for an average increase of 12%. The municipality's financial health is declining due to an increased deficit and the energy losses. And then when you look at the measures put in place, the municipality is going to put some smart meters and split meters to reduce those slightly increasing energy losses. However, when you look at the surplus, the municipality has indicated that it has spent money on materials and supplies so that it can be able to cap these energy losses. So we hope to see a change in the next financial year on the energy losses and the expenditure done by the municipality. And then when you look at the COS, the municipality has developed a study that is aligned to the framework, and all the costs that are deemed inefficient have been have not been approved. And then the municipality has applied for an average increase of 12%, even though the outcome of the study is indicating a 14%. The municipality has indicated that it will be financially viable with the 12% increase. With regards to the recommendations, the energy regulator notes the cost of supply study report submitted by the municipality. The energy regulator approves the tariffs that are based on the cost of supply as recommended in the analysis sheet. The municipality to submit a report accounting to all the costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification and audit. The municipality to submit an audited financial report that reflects the impact of the cost of supply tariffs on customers as well as on the licenses, sustainability and local economy. Furthermore, the municipality should submit an energy losses report that will be smart so that NERSA can monitor the energy losses report. All other recommendations are taken into consideration and the guidance from the members. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Nkopo. Members, any questions, issues of clarity or points of enhancements on this application? Mr. Mkize, you may come in.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm just concerned of the non-improvement from the municipality. Was in Mpumalanga, this is one of the, or used to be one of the best run municipalities. When we go to 2.3 under energy losses, you said that energy losses are caused by theft. And then you talk to only meters that need to be put there to monitor these losses. I'm just concerned that the solution proffered might not be talking to the challenge faced or the cause. If when we look at these, especially theft or these energy losses, we need to also look at the effectiveness of solutions being put forth. Because otherwise you could be just ticking boxes in terms of action taken, but not find that there's effectiveness in capping the theft. So in going forward, I think on all these municipalities, we also need to look at the effectiveness of the remedial action being taken. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Ms. Maseti.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mine is on the actual tariffs, Chair. If you look at the schools and welfare, 3-phase and the others, there still under schools and welfare, you'll see that the cost there, we've got basic charge, which is also going to be a cost burden to this class or to this group. And then in addition to that, if you look at the network demand charge, as well as the network access charge, I'm sure there is some duplication here of some sort, really. And it is important for the team to explain this, because these will be a cost that are just coming for the consumers, their customers, to pay before they could pay for the energy charge. Can they at least provide clarification here? And also the low season and the high season, I think it deserves some explanation there, and also to make sure that there will be streamlining of cost there, so that consumers are not penalized, in as much as we know that they are cost related to the network. But then network access charge, as well as network demand charge. And then on top of that, there is a basic charge. Please, if that can be clarified for the members. And this is not just for the presenter. I mean, we've got Brian, we've got Charles who can explain, we've got also the executive manager to explain. Thank you.
Thank you, members, for those points. Ms. Nkopo, or should I start with you or hand over to Ndate Sichotlo and then to the EM if they are? But maybe let me start with you to give some explanation, and then I'll go to Brian and the EM to add if there is a need to. Over to you, ma'am.
The capacity of the building is for access.
Thank you, Chairperson. I don't know whether Brian is responding to this.
Brian, you can mute yourself, and Ndate Modise, please mute yourself, and let's allow Ms. Nkopo to respond, and then you can come in and support or add on what she has said. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairperson. Well, with regards to the structure of the schools and the school's tariff, it is a time of use tariff. And then that split between the tariffs, the network demand and the access demand talks to the demand, but it has been split. I will request, because it's a bit technical, I won't be able to really to explain why the network demand has been split from the network access. I will request Brian to assist in that regard. Thank you, Chairperson.
Chairperson, to assist, I did indicate that if this can be answered by Charles as well as Brian, and also the EM, because this deals with the technical issues and the burden on customers, that would assist.
Thank you. And Dr. Chotlo, I don't see any hand from any of them. They may just show their hand up so that I can recognize them. But I see that we say
yes. Yes, Chairperson, it's me, it's Brian. Actually, I'm sitting with Ndate Modise. I'm not at my computer. That's why you don't see my hand. Chairperson, I'm going to try and give it the first bite, and then probably Charles will then come in. Chairperson, my understanding is that, okay, both of them are network related. However, the one on the demand talks about the capacity of that of the network, and then the other one is actually the accessing. And I'm not sure which one is more variable and which one is more fixed. Maybe Charles can come in there. But the other one there that Mr. Massetti also mentioned, the one here, the basic charges. Basic charges are not network related, but rather they are based on the services that have been provided. That means people that are doing the building, the metering, that is what the basic charge would be for. But the two network access and network demand, maybe Charles can come in, but that's how I understand it myself, Chair. Thanks, man.
Mr. Geldert, do you want to come in and assist?
Thank you, Chair. I agree with Brian. The basic charge is simply the charge that covers the service administration. It's basically the equivalent of what Eskom call in their Megaflex tariff, which is this tariff seems to be mirroring is it's the administrative and service charge. The network access charge is a charge which comes from the transmission side of the supply, if I'm correct, and the network demand charge is the charge which is basically what is used through the distribution system. That if I'm correct in saying that this is mirroring the Eskom Megaflex tariff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Mr. Matebula, anything from your side?
Yeah, Chair, I do not necessarily have anything to add, but I believe if there's a need maybe to workshop this issue even further, maybe we can do that with the FTRM outside this meeting.
Otherwise, you concur with the explanation provided for now in the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much. Can we mute ourselves, please? It's very destructive for us to proceed with the meeting when there are background noises. Ms. Masetti, your hand was up, but so it went off.
Thank you, Chairperson. It was actually the clarity that I sought. It was for the benefit of the members, because if you look at that basic charge, it is too much, even if it is for services and so forth. To increase it by 12% is too much, and it is a burden. That's the point that I'm making. It is a burden on customers, So it means there must be a way of constraining those costs that pertain to the services and admin. There must be a way of constraining those costs. So that is the main issue here. And then the second thing that I'm talking about is some municipalities are not splitting these. So yes, it may appear to be sort of a duplication, because now they have to charge it, the network demand charge and the network access charge. So we may need to just clarify them further. And then in addition to that, the customer must still then pay the energy charge. So I'm just saying that from my side, really the concern is the impact on the customer, having these charges being increased, and sometimes it may appear that there's some duplication of some sort, and the customer may have to pay, say, 60% just for fixed charges that are being imposed by the municipality before the customer could even pay for the energy itself. That's the main issue here. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Visitor. That is noted. Mr. Mkizo, your hand is up.
Yeah. It has been raised. I would just like to flag it instead, maybe, of discussing it at length here. The issue of these fixed charges that kind of circumvent the role of the regulator in determining prices and tariffs, and because they're outside the purview also of the regulator. But I think that here and now we may not be able to resolve, but I think it's an issue that needs to be clarified and taken out, and taken up outside of the meeting. Yeah, let me leave it at that, because as I said, there's still a lot of work that I think needs to be done outside of this platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kize. On that note, members, with that input that has been raised, or rather a request for enhancements on the administrative costs that needs to be looked at, which relates to the charges, network demand charges, access charges, and also basic charges, to avoid any possible duplication of these charges in the applications. So we need to be mindful of that when we do the assessment of the applications. On that note, members, the recommendations have been read into the record. They are on page 422, paragraph 9. May I, by show of hand, get an indication that you support them with that particular enhancement made on the administrative costs? Thank you, Ms. Massetti. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. I also support recommendations. We then move on to the next application, which is Tier Waterskloof Municipality. And it will be led by Ms. Matumbu on this application. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to all. Tier Waterskloof is situated in the Western Cape, and when we look at the financial and technical indicators, the municipality is operating at a surplus of 0.14, which is a decline from the 2022-23 financial year. The decline in the surplus is attributed to a 100% increase in the financial costs from the 22-23 financial year to the 23-24 financial year. And the surplus is further, the decline is further attributed to a general expenses, which increased by 9 million from the previous financial year to the current financial year. And the municipality is encouraged to monitor the surplus going forward. When we look at the energy losses, Chair, the municipality's energy losses are at 3.70, and it is encouraged that the municipality keep monitoring the energy losses and to always keep them at low levels. Chair, the municipality submitted its cost of supply, and the cost of supply was assessed for alignment with the approved NERSA framework, and all costs were verified against the actuals in deforms and financial statements. The licensee is not proposing any structural changes based on its cost of supply result, and the results suggested that the energy charges be increased by 8%, while their fixed charges be reduced by 35%, and the municipality is adopting a 3-year phasing period to implement its cost of supply result. The licensee is proposing an average increase to its tariffs of 11.35 for the 25-26 financial cycle. And it is recommended that the energy regulator notes the cost of supply submitted by the municipality. The tariffs that are based on the cost of supply be approved as recommended for implementation by the municipality from 1 July 2025. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audit financial figures by the regulator. And the municipality should submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted to the energy regulator to perform its independent verification audit. And all the other comments from members have been noted and will be implemented. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Matumbu. Members, any questions, issues of clarity, or points of enhancements on this application? I don't see any hand. Members, the recommendations have been read into the record, and may I also request that the numbering of the recommendations be looked into and corrected, but they have been properly read into the record. On that note, members, can I get an indication that you do support the approval? of the recommendations as presented in paragraph 10 of page 441. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. I also support the approval of the recommendations. We then move on to the next application. It is Swaying Local Municipalities application, and it will be presented by Ms. Khwadi. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Tsaying municipality is applying for an average increase of 11.53% for the 25-26 financial year. The licensee and NERSA have complied with the legislative requirements regarding public consultation process, and there were no comments received regarding this municipality. The licensee financial performance have improved as indicated by surplus, but the energy losses are increasing. The municipality submitted the energy loss reduction plan, and NERSA will continue to monitor the progress. The municipality also indicated that the OSCOM, however, they also approved for the National Treasury Debt Relief Plan with effect from December 2023. The municipality was assessed recently, and it had greatly met 78% of the condition during the cycle of the program. This program will help the municipality to manage its ESCOM bulk account. The licensing cost of supply that was submitted and was assessed by NERSA to ensure compliance with the approved COS framework. During the assessment, all costs provided by licensee have been verified against the due forms, trial balance, and audited financial statement. Furthermore, the costs that were deemed inefficient were also disallowed. The COS study recommends an average increase of 21.9% for the licensee to achieve full cost reflectivity. However, the municipality is proposing 11.53 increase to review its tariff for the 25-26 financial year. Some reason for implementing lower increase can be justified by municipality maintaining sustainable tariff level, ability to cover ESCOM bulk account, and also customer affordability. The municipality is also utilizing the cost of supply study results to inform a gradual approach to achieving cost reflective tariff. This approach involved imposing different tariff increases to progressively align with the actual cost of supply study. The licensee is not proposing any structural changes to its tariffs. The recommendation are on page 455, and I read as follows. The energy regulator to note the cost of supply study is submitted by the municipality. The energy regulator approves the tariff that are based on this cost of supply study as recommended in the tariff analysis section for implementation with effect from 1st of July 2025. The municipality submit a report accounting for all costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification or audit. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subjected to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures by the energy regulator. The municipality is also required to implement and monitor the plan the plan set and submit a progress report to NERSA on a quarterly basis commencing 30 September 2025, and also taking into account all the recommendation comments raised and guidance from the members. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khwadi. Members, any input on this application? If you have any, please do raise your hand. I don't see any hand. I think maybe someone should assist in this channel in just double checking some of the numbers, especially on Annex 1, page 12, with the information contained in the application. It should be corrected, because if you look at Annex 1, it says the tariff applied for it's 11.2, and in the actual application we say it's 11.3. So if we can have a verifier of those numbers in the submissions and together with the annexure information. On that note, I do not see any hand from the members. Members, the recommendations are on paragraph 7. On page 455, and they have been read into the record, and all the other inputs that have been made relevant to this particular application have been noted by the team. May I, on that basis, get an indication that you support the recommendations as presented? Thank you, Mr. Mkiza. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. I also support. We then move on to the next application, which is Umlalazi Municipality. Ndate Ekore, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. This application of Umlalazi Municipality is based in KZN Province, and it has been approved by the Council before it came to NERSA. The application has met the statutory requirements in terms of public consultation. It was consulted by both the municipality to its customers and by NERSA to affected stakeholders for 30 days, and there are no comments received in relation to this application. The tariffs are based on cost of supply study, which is in line with NERSA's approved framework. The Munich is proposing 13.5% in all their tariff, except domestic prepaid law, which is increasing by 4.9% inflation. The municipality indicated that the reason for such a low increase on this particular tariff is to protect the poor of the poorest who are on this tariff. The 13.5% is a phasing approach to implement the COS outcome to reach cost reflective. This approach will protect municipal sustainability and protect customers from high tariff. The challenge here, Chairperson, is energy loss and financial deficit. The recommendation is that REC to note the cost of supply and approve the tariff to be implemented from 1st of July. The Munich to update NERSA on the process of settling ESCOM debt, and for municipality to address energy losses and submit a report quarterly to NERSA starting from the 1st of September. The municipality must submit a report accounting for all costs that have been noted to enable the regulator to perform its independent verification audit. And municipality to submit audited financial report that reflects the impact of the cost of supply tariff for licensee sustainability and local economy. And lastly, all the comments and the guidance from members will be taken into account. I thank you.
Thank you, Ntate Kgare. Members, any questions, points of enhancements, or points of clarity on this particular application? I don't see any hand. Members, the recommendations have been read into the records. May I, by show of hand, get an indication that you do support them as presented on page 470 of paragraph 8. Thank you, Mr. Mkiza. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. I also support. We move on to the next application, which is Umsobomvu Municipality. It will be presented by Ms. Michael. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning once more, members, colleagues, and staff. Umsobomvu Municipality is situated in the Northern Cape. They are applying for an average increase of 10.2%. The financial and technical performance are not satisfactory as indicated by high energy losses and percentage deficit. The high deficit is mainly due to total revenue that is decreasing by 16% and total expenditure increasing by 22%. The tariff application has been consulted at the municipal level and also at NERSA, and there were no comments received from the stakeholders. The cost of supply study was submitted to NERSA, and then upon receiving the cost of supply study, the costs were verified through DFOM, audited financial statements, and trial balance. And the cost of supply steps were also assessed to make sure that there are no misalignment and all the steps are aligned. And the COS result is proposing an average increase of 10.2%, of which is what the municipality is proposing. And the recommendations are as follows. The energy regulator knows the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality. The tariffs that are based on cost of supply report be approved as recommended in the above tariff analysis for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1 July 2025. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures, the municipality to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted to enable the energy regulator to perform its independent verification audit. The municipality is required to manage its expenditure to enhance surplus levels on electricity account, and the municipality is to submit the report on with regards to the monitoring of the energy losses to NERSA by 30 September 2025. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Matlo. Members, any questions, comments, or points of announcements on this particular application? I don't see any hand from the members. Members, the recommendations are on page 486, and they have been read onto the record, and they are on paragraph 9. By show of hand, may I get an indication that you do support the approval of the recommendations as presented? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. I also support. We then move on to the next application, which is our last application. It's an application from Walter Sisulu Municipality, and it's going to be led by Ms. Matlo again. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thanks, Chair. While Walter Sisulu Municipality is situated in the Eastern Cape, the municipality is applying for average increase of 12.7. The financial and technical performance are not satisfactory as indicated by high percentage deficit and energy losses. High deficit is primarily attributable to interest payable and notified maximum demand penalties against Eskom account. The tariff application was consulted for by the municipality with its customers, and NERSA also did a public consultation where the tariff application was advertised on the NERSA website and social media, and there were no comments received from the stakeholders. The cost of supply study was submitted. Upon receiving the cost of supply, the costs were verified on the D-form audited financial statements and the trial balance, and the cost of supply steps were all aligned. And the COS results is proposing an average increase of 22.1%. However, the municipality is proposing 12.7%. The recommendations are as follows. The energy regulator knows the cost of supply report submitted by the municipality. The tariffs that are based on the cost of supply report be approved as recommended in the above tariff analysis sheet for implementation by the municipality with effect from 1 July 2025. All cost information submitted by the municipality will be subject to an independent audit and may be clawed back upon receipt and verification of audited financial figures. The municipality to submit a report accounting for all the costs that have been noted to enable the energy regulator to perform its independent verification audit. The municipality is required to manage its expenditure to enhance surplus level on electricity account, and the municipality is to submit the report on monitoring the energy losses to NERSA by 30 September 2025. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Matlo. Ms. Maseti, apologies. I see your hand has been up. Don't know if we missed. Oh, it must have been a lingering hand. On that note, members, Ms. Matlo has presented us with the Walter Sisulu tariff application. Are there any questions, issues of clarity, or points of enhancements that you have on this particular application? If you do, please do raise your hand and I'll allow you to give you your input. I do not see any hand. On that note, members, the recommendations are on page 504, paragraph 9, and they have been read into the record. And I would like members to indicate by show of hand that they support the recommendations as presented on that page and in that paragraph. Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I do support. Members, that was the last application that we had for our meeting this morning. Let me take this opportunity to thank the members of the public, the staff members and management for their presentation that had enabled the committee to execute its function this morning. Thank you so much. We have